Let me ask you a question. Okay, so if you spent 10 years mastering your craft, investing thousands in training certifications and lived experience, and you can walk into a conversation and help someone solve in 60 minutes what took you a decade to figure out, why are you charging for the 60 minutes? Because here's what's actually happening when you price by the hour or by the session. You are telling your client, whether you mean it or not, that what they're buying is your time, and your time is a commodity. Expertise is not, transformation is not, and results are not. The moment you price by the hour, you have turned yourself into a commodity, and you cannot charge high ticket for a commodity. So today I'm going to show you exactly why time and session-based pricing is the ceiling on your income, and step by step how to price on value instead, with real examples, real numbers, and a framework that you can apply this week. Before we go into this though, if you haven't watched my previous video, The Inner Game of Selling High Ticket, I need you to pause and go watch that first. Here's why this matters, because everything I'm about to teach you, the pricing strategy, the frameworks, and the exact numbers, none of it will work if your inner game isn't aligned first. I've seen coaches learn perfect pricing strategy and still fold the moment a client raises their eyebrows because their nervous system hasn't regulated and their self-image hadn't caught up to the price that they were trying to hold. The sequence is always be, do, and have when you're selling high ticket. So you have to become the high ticket expert before the strategy sticks. And that's what the previous video is about. So go watch it, do the inner work, and then come back and we'll build the pricing framework on top of that foundation. If you've already watched it, perfect. Let's go. All right, I work with female coaches, consultants, service providers, founders who are brilliant at what they do. They've helped people transform their business, their health, their relationships, their careers, and they have receipts, testimonials, case studies, client wins that would make your jaw drop. And they are charging $150 an hour, $500 for 6-session packages, or $2,000 for a 3-month retainer. And they cannot figure out why they're exhausted, feel undervalued, and nowhere near the income their results actually justify. It's not because they lack skill. It's not because the market won't pay more. It's because they are using a pricing model that was designed for tradable services, plumbing, accounting by the hour, legal retainers, and not for transformation. Today, that changes. Let's break down exactly why charging for time and sessions is fundamentally incompatible with high ticket pricing. Okay, so reason number one is it caps your income at your hours. So let's say that you are charging $300 per hour and you have 20 clients per hour per week. That means that you are actually making $6,000 per week, and you multiply that by 48 working weeks. That means that you're making $288,000 per year maximum. And that's before taxes, before expenses, before the days that you're sick, that you're traveling, or simply human. The truth is that most coaches billing hourly never even get close to that amount because the model itself is exhausting. So here's the math nobody talks about. As you get better, as your expertise deepens, as your results get faster and more under time-based pricing, you actually earn less because you solve problems faster. So if you can help a client solve in 6 weeks what used to take 6 months, why should you be penalized for that efficiency? Absolutely not. You shouldn't. But that's exactly what time-based pricing does. Okay, reason number two is that it anchors the client to the wrong question. Time-based pricing makes them ask the question, is this worth $500 per session, right? But value-based pricing makes them ask, is this transformation worth the investment? And it's a completely different question. Do you see the difference? When a client is evaluating per session, they're comparing you to the alternatives, other coaches, other online services, YouTube videos, and that comparison makes you defensible only on price. But when a client is evaluating a transformation from where they are to where they want to be, they're no longer comparing you to a cheaper option. They're calculating the cost to staying stuck. And that is a conversation where high ticket closes. Okay, reason number three is that it communicates the wrong value signal. Whether you intend it or not, pricing by the hour tells your premium client one thing: what you're paying for is my time, not my result. But think about it. What your high ticket clients is actually buying. They're not buying your time, they're buying a solved problem they've been carrying for years. They're buying revenue generated or saved because you work with them. They're buying time reclaimed, hours, weeks, months of their life that they get back. They're buying the emotional cost of staying stuck, which is going to be gone. They're buying the version of themselves, of their business on the other side of the work. And most importantly, they're buying a future state, especially one that is life changing or business changing, and it has a value that has absolutely nothing to do with how many hours that you spend delivering it. So here's something I want to say with a lot of love. When you sell 10 session packages or 3-month retainers priced as a low monthly rate, you are training your clients to think of you as a vendor, someone that they hire for a defined deliverable and for a defined period of time. High ticket clients don't hire vendors. They invest in trusted advisors, and trusted advisors are priced on outcomes, not on deliverable, not on sessions, not on months. This is why two coaches can work with the same type of client, do the same type of work, and one charges 5,000 and the other charges 50,000. The difference isn't the years of experience, it isn't even the depth of transformations. It's how they frame and price the value of what they do. So, what is value based pricing exactly? Let's talk about it. Value based pricing means that you set your prices based on the economic, emotional, and experiential value your client receives from the outcome, not based on how long it takes you to deliver it. Let me make this really concrete. So, a business strategist who helps a CEO restructure their sales team, which results in an additional $500,000 in annual revenue, is not worth $300 an hour. They're worth a fraction of the value they created: 50,000, 75,000, maybe more. Okay. A leadership coach who helps a burned out executive get out of the operational weeds of their business, reclaiming 20 hours a week and finally being present for their family. What is that worth in time, in sanity, in relationships saved, right? The answer to that question is the foundation of your price. Here is the exact step by step process that I use with my clients to build their value based prices. Let's go through each one. Okay, step number one is we're going to define the transformation in a measurable term. We need to quantify the transformation. The first step is to get brutally clear about what your client's life, business, health looks like before and after working with you. And whenever possible, we have to make it measurable. For example, before working with you, they were making $8,000 a month inconsistently. After working with you, they're going to make $25,000 a month consistently, right? Before working with you, they work 60 plus hours a week. After working with you, they're going to work 30 hours a week. Before working with you, for example, what I do, they close 15, 20% of their sales goals. After working with you, they close 65 to 75% of their sales goals. Emotional states. Let's take an example for emotional state. Before they're working with you, they were anxious, overworked. After working with you, they are confident, in control of their team. Notice that I'm quantifying both the tangible outcomes, revenue, hours, close rates, and the intangible outcomes, confidence, emotional freedom, peace of mind. Both matter, both have value. And when you can articulate both sides of this transformation clearly to yourself and to your client, you have the foundation for a value based price. Okay, step number two is that you're going to calculate the economic value. Now, for many coaches, consultants, service providers, especially those working with business owners and executives, there is a direct calculable economic value to your work. And here's how to find it. You need to ask, what does the problem currently cost them? For example, lost revenue from underpriced offers, lost time from inefficient systems, missed opportunities from poor positioning, high employee turnover because of leadership gaps, failed launches due to unclear messaging, right? Let me give you a real example. So, say you're a sales coach like me, working with female entrepreneurs. She's currently closing 50% of her sales goals, and she gets on 10 calls a month. Her offer is $5,000. So, 10 calls, when she closes 15% of her calls, she only gets 1.5 clients a month. 1.5. You can't be half a human, but you know what I mean. So after working with me as a sales coach, her close rate goes to 50%. If she has the same 10 calls per month, when she closes at 50%, she will get 5 clients per month. That means that she'll make $25,000 a month. Now, that is 17,500 more that she's making every month, and that is $210,000 per year. Now, I want you to answer these questions for me. If someone handed you a framework that generated an extra $210,000 per year in your business starting this year, what would you pay for? Most people would pay 50,000, 70,000. Some would pay 100,000, right? So when you're charging 3,000 for a 3-month sales coaching program, you are leaving extraordinary value on the table, and you are undervaluing every single woman you work with by implying her transformation is only worth $3,000. All right, step number 3 is you calculate the experiential and emotional value. Not every outcome is measurable in dollars, but that doesn't make it less valuable. In many cases, it makes it even more valuable. Think about what your clients are carrying before they work with you, the weight of it, the sleepless nights, the feeling of being trapped in a business that depends entirely on them, or the identity confusion of undercharging for years and not knowing how to stop. These are real costs, and they show up in strained relationships, in physical health breakdowns, in lost confidence over time, in compounding effect of years of undercharging. The opportunity cost of playing small is real. So when someone has been living with a problem for 3, 5, 10 years, the emotional relief of finally solving it has an enormous worth. And here's how I think about this. I ask my clients to answer one question. What would it be worth to you to never deal with this problem again? And let them answer that, and then listen to what they're saying, because that number, that's your emotional value ceiling. Okay, step number 4. Now, what we want to do is we want to set your price at 10 to 20% of the total value that you created. Okay, it's the 10 to 20% rule. Here's the pricing formula. Your price equals 10 to 20% of the total value created. This is the industry standard for value-based pricing, and it works because it creates an obvious, almost irrefutable return on investment for your clients. So let's go back to our sales coaching example. The total annual value that you created was $210,000. 10% of that is 21,000. 15% of that is 31,500. 20% of that is $42,000. Now think about that. If someone charges $25,000 for a coaching program and you make 210,000 more as a result, you've made your money back 8 times over. That's not expensive. That's the most affordable decision that you've ever made. And that is how you present your price to a client, not as a cost, but as an investment that they'll make this year. Okay, step number 5. Now we're going to package it as a transformation, not a service. The final step is how you present the structure of the offer. Your package name should reflect the outcome, not the deliverables, okay? And instead of session-based framing, for example, 12 coaching sessions plus email support plus 2 strategy calls, whatever, you use value-based framing. The example is the high ticket sales mastery program, from inconsistent 5K months to 25K months in 90 days, right? Do you see the difference? The first version makes a client calculate whether 12 sessions at that price is a good idea or if it's a good deal. The second version makes the client calculate whether going from 5K to 25K a month is a good deal. And those are 2 completely different mental calculations, right? And only one of them leads to a high ticket yes. Your deliverables, the calls, the support, the materials, those are the vehicle. Never lead with the vehicle, always lead with the destination. Okay, I know some of you will be thinking right now, I hear objections every single week. So let's go through them right now. So number 1, but what if the person can't afford it? Now, if someone cannot afford $20,000 to generate $168,000 in additional revenue. They don't have an affordability problem, they have a belief problem. And that's okay, not everybody is ready. But that's not a reason to price yourself for the person who isn't ready. And price for the person who actually is ready and understands the value of adding that additional income to their business. Okay, the second objection is, but I'm not established enough yet. You are pricing your future. And your future clients are not paying for your years in the industry. They're paying for the result that they get. If you can create on day one of your business, that outcome is worth 200,000, 200K outcome. Okay, objection number 3. What if someone compares me to cheaper alternatives? Good question. Let them compare. A client who chooses based on price alone is not your premium client. Your premium client chooses based on certainty of outcome. And when you present your value-based price alongside your clear transformation and track record, you are not comparable to 500 session professionals. You're a completely different category. Here's exactly what I want you to do this week to start transitioning to value-based pricing. Number 1, I want you to complete the before and after transformation table for your ideal client. Be specific, quantify everything you can. Step 2, I want you to calculate the economic value of your work. Okay, use the framework that I shared in the video. In step 2, run the actual numbers. Thirdly, I want you to apply the 10 to 20% rule. Remember, the economic value your work creates is on top of what they already have. And you're going to apply that 10 to 20% rule to calculate your 3 price points, 10%, 15%, and 20% of the total value. These are your pricing options. Step number 4, I want you to rewrite your offer, name and description using transformation language, not deliverable language. And step number 5, I want you to practice saying your new prices out loud in a regulated state until it feels boring. Remember the inner work that we talked about. Okay, here's the truth I want you to leave with. Your price is a message. Every time you name your rate, you're telling your clients and yourself what you believe this transformation is worth. When you price on time, you're saying, what's valuable here is my presence. When you price on value, you're saying what's valuable here is your transformation. And that shift from pricing your presence to pricing their transformation is one of the most powerful things that you will ever do for your business. But I want to say this one more time. If you haven't done the inner work first, your nervous system regulation, your self-image upgrade, your identity alignment, go watch that previous video before you implement any of this, because you will not be able to sustain what your nervous system cannot hold. And value-based price held by a dysregulated nervous system will still collapse on the calls, and the strategy and the inner game have to work together. All right, let me know if you found this helpful. Please do like and subscribe so that more people can find it. And drop the word value in the comments if this shifted something for you. I want to hear from you. And if you're ready to build your complete high-ticket sales system from inner game to pricing to sales conversation itself, then the link to work with me is below. You've earned the right to charge for your outcomes. Now go and do it, and I'll see you in the next one.